Nature or nurture, in other words, what's a genetic predisposition as opposed to a learned behavior. When dogs were bred for specific characteristics, all the characteristics of a wolf are there. All the drives are there. It's just that some of them are muted. They're still there, but we want them to do different things. It's what you do to socialize them from the time they're born. So that's the learned behavior. You have them around other animals, you have them around people and what have you. They become social. They interact appropriately with other animals, cats and dogs and birds and squirrels. And it's the responsibility, I think, of the owners.
It's based on the owner and how you raise them. They're more like knives, whereas, you can spread butter with a knife or you can cause damage to someone with a knife. So it really depends on whose hands the dogs are in.
How a pit bull is raised definitely affects the pit bull. I would say that if you have an owner that neglects their dog, that is going to teach their dog to be mean to people or be mean to other dogs, that's going to affect a person. I completely, without a shadow of a doubt, believe that that dog is affected by how they're raised. I don't think it's a natural thing. I don't think it's in their DNA. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's all in how you're raised, because a dog is an individual just like people. We're affected by who our parents are. We're developed by the people that we surround ourselves with.
We are their keepers. We are truly their keepers. So it's the person that handles them. You get a pit bull spayed when it's young and it's loving, it's around kids, the dog's fine. But if you get a pit bull and you don't neuter it, you raise it to be aggressive, you want it to be a attack dog, well, it doesn't matter if it's a pit bull or a Rottweiler or a Chow or a Doberman, it doesn't matter what kind of dog it is. That person's going to train them to be violent.
That dog doesn't have the choice just because he was raised a certain way if he's not given a chance just by the way he looks.
So ultimately, we need to change those people, not the breed. Banning the breed doesn't solve anything other than turning a blind eye. The problem is we need to solve those type of people that are causing that problem.
Look at the Michael Vick dogs. There were 49 dogs that were confiscated, and there have been dogs that have turned out to be therapy dogs. And the evaluator said it was the best temperament dog that he had ever assessed. And that's a dog that came from terrible circumstances. That right there is your proof that they're able to be rehabilitated. It's a battle, and they do have to be rehabilitated. You can't just take them out of dog fighting and put them in a home and think all will be well, but that case right there demonstrated that those dogs can absolutely be rehabilitated.
Pit bulls out there, it's a very small percentage that actually cause a problem. Tiny, less than 1%, probably less than 0.1% of the true pit bulls that are out there.
BASL is breed-specific legislation, and it's basically banning dogs based on what they're called or what they look like. It's a form of discrimination.
I think it's based on emotion, misinformation, and idiots. And the bully breeds are no more dangerous than Chihuahuas, Maltese, Labrador Retrievers, and so on and so forth. And quite frankly, documented Center for Disease Control supports this. The rest of it is just emotional response. I really think it's dumb. Insurance companies do the same thing.
It's making a judgment without meeting the particular dog. So you're categorizing a dog as being a certain way just because of what they're called or what they look like.
BSL is something that we strive to educate people on for specifically pit bulls. We don't want people to look at the breed. We don't want people to look at the dog as, oh, it's a pit bull. We want them to know that each dog is their own. They're individual, just like people are individuals.
A pit bull type dog could be any combination of so many different breeds. It could be an American Staffordshire Terrier, it could be an American Pit Bull Terrier. Depending upon what state you live in, there are different definitions of pit bull type dogs. It could be a Dogo Argentino, Cane Corso, the list goes on and on and on. And that's part of the problem, is that it's very hard to identify a true, first of all, there's no such thing as a pit bull, but there are different breeds, within. So it could be many, many different breeds.
The reason why some people say their physical characteristics identify them as a pit bull, their face, their snout, whether they're stocky, their muscle. They are very muscular dogs. Some have the long snout, some have the box snout, some have the cropped ears that people do, which is horrible. But that's what makes the misidentification so big, because a lot of people say, oh, that's a pit bull, and they're way off. It's not.
Line up 50 different pits. None of them look alike. They're white, they're black, they're brindle. They have different head shapes, different body shapes, but they're all labeled pits. Well, maybe it's a Boxer mix.
They can be intimidating, when they have their ears cropped and they're super muscular and people hang big chains from their neck. I think people try to make them look tough, and that puts fear into other people, and then it leads from there. So it's just, unfortunately, what it is. It's a bad reputation.